Welcome to Survivor Scale! I'm H2 Mass, and today I'm ranking every main character in A Quiet Place Day 1. The slowest film in the series, this time developing a heartwarming relationship between two hopeful survivors and showing us what happens when terrifying aliens that hunt with sound land in the city that never sleeps, forcing its inhabitants to adapt quickly if they don't want to end up at the bottom of the scale. We start the film with a dead-eyed, terminally ill cancer patient named Sam telling her fellow hospice inhabitants how much she hates them before giving us a concise explanation of why.
I'm a very mean person.
Great self-awareness. Having escaped the cult and become a nurse named Reuben, the son from Hereditary asks Sam to join him and some of her fellow hospice patients on a trip into New York City, but Sam says she'll only go if she can get pizza. Showing the effectiveness of her negotiation skills, Reuben agrees to Sam's conditions, and the two of them, along with Sam's cat Frodo, board a bus as they journey to a puppet show. Suddenly though, sirens begin blaring, and Reuben tells everyone to get back on the bus, causing Sam, who still hasn't gotten her pizza yet, to reveal her vindictiveness by insulting Reuben, who's just trying to help.
I'm your friend, okay? And
You're not my friend. You're a nurse.
Well, she did say she was mean. Sam then gets back on the bus, but soon after it starts moving, the sirens amplify and a series of meteorites begin crashing into the city, with one landing near the bus, forcing Sam into a mist of smoke, where she surmises that mysterious creatures attack any nearby sound, just before an ambulance crashes and leaves Sam unconscious. When she wakes up, she shows good composure by not overreacting or screaming, as Henry from the second film decides to become an unnecessary but welcome connection to the rest of the franchise, covering her mouth to keep her quiet. Henry then walks her through the auditorium, where she eventually discovers Reuben still alive. Unfortunately though, the ground starts rumbling and Frodo runs back to the entrance, with Sam showing some recklessness as she quickly follows after him, and Reuben displaying the same negative attribute as he follows after Sam. As Frodo luckily moves away from the door, he hits a bell and alerts the creature on the other side, forcing Sam to showcase both her recklessness and extreme protectiveness as she runs to grab her cat. I'm sorry, but I'm not doing all that for a cat. He got himself into this mess. He can get himself out. While Sam hides behind a pillar, Reuben shows incredible composure by not making a sound as the creature approaches him. Luckily though, a helicopter flies by and draws the creature away before it attacks. Some of the survivors then go to the rooftop to see the extent of the chaos, but one of them shows abysmal composure as he loses all hope and tries to scream, only for Henry to demonstrate his self-preservation by clamping the man's mouth, but the man simply will not quit trying to express his freedom of speech, so Henry displays his ruthlessness by slamming the man's head against the wall when he tries to yell again. We're all gonna die! That's what we gotta start doing to people who talk at the movies. I'm sorry, but they gotta go. A bit later, a nearby generator suddenly starts generating a lot of noise, so Reuben shows strong bravery but poor self-preservation by going to the now most dangerous place possible to turn it off, instead of waiting for the creatures to destroy it and then leave, but Reuben luckily manages to shut it down before the creatures arrive. Yeah! Unfortunately though, man. His shirt loudly rips and a creature tackles him, killing the man whose impressive composure fits perfectly against such auditory enemies, but whose bravery may push into recklessness, ultimately sending the noble nurse with a non-native nemesis to B2. In the morning, Sam decides that she has to do something to make the audience like her, so she gives some hungry-looking kids a chocolate bar. Okay, Willy Wonka. A group of helicopters then fly by and announce to the city survivors to seek shelter on water, so Sam begins leading the kids to the seaport. Unfortunately though, pretty much all of the other survivors take the same path, amplifying their sound and increasing the chances of the aliens hearing them, including the kids, who Sam just abandoned. I thought she was gonna make sure they made it to safety or something first. She really just abandoned them. With the sound now too loud, the creatures begin attacking, causing the crowd to panic and leaving Sam on the ground, with Frodo now running away. Fortunately though, Sam shows some resourcefulness and manages to hide under a car until some dumbass dude grabs her leg and yells for her to help, as if a terminally ill cancer patient can roundhouse kick a bulletproof alien into submission. Like, what the hell do you think she's gonna do? As an alien drags the man away, the car falls on Sam's leg, but she shows strong resolve and quietly pulls herself out before hiding in an alley. Elsewhere, Frodo encounters a man as he rises from some water and then leads him to Sam, who just tells him to get lost. As Sam begins walking, however, she finds the man now following her. Some dudes just can't take a hint. Or more than a hint. Showing some observation and deduction, Sam notices a woman crying under the rain without getting attacked, so she realizes that constant sound can suppress other sounds, allowing her to ask for the man's name and tell him to go to the seaport for evacuation instead of following her. Too scared to go alone though, the man named Eric decides to continue following Sam, who reluctantly leads him to her apartment, where Sam displays some ingenuity when she tells Eric to kick down the door when the thunder rumbles so the sound stays covered. Once inside, Sam reapplies some of her cancer medication before telling Eric to read a sad poem she wrote about the last moments before her father died, leaving her so emotionally overwhelmed that she screams, but still shows good composure by waiting for the thunder to do so. The next day, Sam sneaks out of the apartment to get away from Eric, but when she takes a moment to sit, she sees him behind her again. As she gets up though, she clumsily knocks over a book and alerts some nearby creatures, so the two of them quietly run away, but when they try to enter another building, the revolving door gets stuck on a briefcase and ends up knocking it over when it turns, drawing a horde of creatures to the area. Now running again, Eric also shows some ingenuity by breaking the car's window, distracting the creatures with its alarm. Eventually, they end up going into a flooded subway station, but as Sam tries to move forward, Eric begins losing all composure and needs Sam to reveal her repressed emotional awareness to calm him down. Unfortunately though, Eric still lets out a soft moan loud enough to alert the nearby creature, who begins running across the ceiling towards them, but due to the pair's speed and stamina, ultimately falls into the water and drowns. After nearly drowning as well, Sam wakes up at a church, looking even more deathly than before, so Eric asks what medication she needs as he prepares to venture into the city to help her. While looking through a nearby pharmacy, Frodo suddenly drops in and luckily doesn't alert any creatures despite making some noise. This cat's got some crazy plot armor. Eric then follows the cat into some construction, but Frodo jumps onto a beam and for some reason Eric feels obligated to climb up after him, unfortunately displaying some poor mindfulness as he hits the metal and alerts the creature before redeeming himself by staying composed as it scans the area for any more sounds. You doing a whole lot for that cat, man, but Frodo's got it figured out. Just trust him. He's the most composed character in the film. With the creature now walking away, Eric grabs the cat and goes back to the church. He then gives Sam the medication, and the pair go to the place where Sam's father used to play piano, allowing Eric to showcase both his creativity and emotional awareness when he finds some leftover pizza and decorates the box with the name of the restaurant where Sam and her father used to eat to give Sam one last taste of the happiness she used to feel. After a bit of some silent dancing, Sam gives Eric her sweater as the two of them finally prepare to go to the seaport for evacuation. Unfortunately though, when they get there, they find the shore crawling with creatures, and before they can start moving through the cars, Eric's fear again overwhelms him as he just cowers on the ground, frozen. Showing some strong bravery but poor self-preservation, Sam then begins breaking car windows with a handheld weapon instead of doing so remotely with a projectile and keeping herself further from danger. With the creatures having been drawn away from him, Eric begins running towards the boats, only for him to knock over a loud-ass can right after the alarms stop, drawing the creatures right back towards him. As he runs towards the dock, he shows strong speed by managing to outpace the creatures just long enough to jump into the water before they can reach him, all while carrying Frodo. Just like Sam. So that's why he's called Frodo. Eric then makes his way to the boat, where he meets Henry, who through his ruthlessness and resolve has kept even poorly composed humans from endangering him and his family for long, as he managed to find his own way to safety as well, bringing the ferocious father who found a fairy to A tier. Now safe, Eric feels something in his jacket and ends up pulling out a note from Sam, who tells him to take care of Frodo and thanks him for helping her live again, just for her self-preservation to drop to 0 as she goes into an empty intersection and blares music. Damn. Time to rank. First off, we have Eric, a man mostly defined by his overwhelming fear that his face clearly betrays and never fully gets rid of, many times freezing up or making involuntary noises when the situation becomes especially dangerous. On the bright side though, he also has strong bravery, often managing to act despite his fear, mitigating some of the negative consequences his fear would otherwise have. He also displays solid ingenuity by quickly distracting the creatures with a car alarm. In addition, despite his initially seemingly creepy or really just annoying behavior towards Sam as he followed her, he does eventually demonstrate notable amicability, managing to improve Sam's worldview before she ultimately decides to die anyway. Overall, Eric may not be a strong survivor, but is also far from bottom tier, sending the scared student who seems to stalk to C tier. Finally, we have Sam, whose status as a late-stage cancer patient continues to drop her self-preservation until it basically reaches 0 at the end of the film, making her extremely unlikely to survive pretty much any other horror movies, especially post-apocalyptic ones. At least while she has cancer. Before her death though, Sam demonstrates a pretty strong assortment of attributes that likely would prove indispensable in other horror situations, most notably her composure, which enabled her to seamlessly adjust to the new reality with little issue, repeatedly staying silent as she moved around the observant creatures. Additionally, while her sociability at first appeared problematic, she eventually displayed the capacity to work with others, a valuable trait especially when paired with her courage, which may enable her to lead groups through challenging obstacles. Though she did just abandon those kids. Like, that's crazy. Overall, Sam has very strong composure and ability to act even when faced with extreme danger, but also displays some recklessness and limited self-preservation, which, while partially explained by her cancer, can't be completely disregarded and unfortunately drops her a few points, leaving the cancerous character with courage and composure in A tier. But that's it. The average ranking for this cast was B tier. Pretty solid collection of characters. While much slower than the other films in the series, A Quiet Place Day 1 still has some great tension and some of the most compelling characters in the franchise. And a cat that's very good at acting. Screw it. He's going on the scale too. Thanks for watching.